One of the many things that all of us can agree upon is the fact that a child's mind is something truly fragile, something that can either be shattered depending on its circumstances, or it can be carefully nurtured to where it eventually transforms into a strong will that guides their actions as adults. In the case of Kakashi Hatake, at a very young age, he had both of these things happen to him. His father was in the process of nurturing him and shaping Kakashi into becoming a proud and powerful ninja, as shown when he warned Kakashi not to take Might Guy and his father Might Die too lightly, and teaching his son in that moment that ego and underestimation can lead a ninja to defeat. However, he also experienced what it means to have that mind shattered when he discovered his father's dead body, and Kakashi spent time afterwards struggling to cope as he picked up the pieces and remolded himself into the hardened ninja who was obsessed with following the rules. In today's edition of Kakashi Retsuden, we're gonna take a look at the moment where Kakashi reflects in great depth on the darkest moment of his childhood, sharing newfound information that was previously not told to us until now. The information comes to us from the Kakashi Retsuden novel, which is set between the Majina Bandits arc and the Owl arc of the Boruto story, and it deals with the search for a cure to the deadly chakra illness that's slowly killing Naruto, while making his way through a faraway land called Redaku, a land where the Sage of Six Paths once lived, when he too was sick with the same illness that Naruto has. Kakashi has a moment where some of his darker memories begin to flood his mind. Two of these memories are the heartbreak that came from discovering his father's dead body, the life oozing out in red blotches in the middle of the night. The other memory was Kakashi very distraught, barely holding it together as he told the third Hokage about his father's death. As we all know, the death of a father had a major impact on Kakashi, but when viewing it from a different lens and pulling the scope back a little bit further, removing the future that we know to be Kakashi's life later on in the Naruto manga, and just looking at the memories that Kakashi shares in the scene, you really get to see how much this moment shattered the child mind of Kakashi Hatake. So what I'll do for you guys now is, like always, read the scene in question, then I'll come back to you guys with my thoughts. And it's here I'm gonna begin quoting. Kakashi remembered the day when his father died while watching the wisteria swaying in the darkness as his father bled out. When he was mourning that night, he remembered the moisture containing heat that stuffed its way into his chest and felt like he was trapped inside of soil. Kakashi discovered his father's body, and it was also him who had to report his father's death to the Hokage at that time. Here's in Sarutobi. His father was well known, and therefore lots of people turned up that night, but no one was really jealous. At least that's the way it seemed at first to Kakashi's very young eyes. End quote. Now, I don't know about you, but in that moment where Kakashi described the moisture that contained heat being trapped inside of his chest, it really struck me down my core. Like, anyone who's ever lost someone that they truly love knows the feeling of that warm knot that presses down on your chest, slamming past your breastbone and pushing up against your heart. It's that moment when your body realizes the true extent of the loss that you just endured long before your mind has been able to process what actually happened. It's a type of numbness that you feel where from your shoulders all the way down to your legs, they suddenly feel weighty. They feel very tired, like they were trying to climb out of a mud pit. The moment when you lose a person that you care for very deeply enough that you trade your own life in order to make sure that they were still here, it never really goes away. You recall the exact moment and the sensations. They feel as fresh as if they just happened to you, which I felt that the author did a really good job of conveying how Kakashi felt by using the word choice that he did. It would have been really easy to write that Kakashi was depressed or crying because his father died, but the author went a bit of a different route by first telling us that Kakashi was in mourning, something that everybody knows, at the thought of discovering his father's dead body in the darkness with the wind blowing the wisteria in the darkness, which is a type of flower that you get over there in Japan. It was a way of symbolizing that the soul of the White Fang was now departing. However, by taking things a step further, bringing out the sensations that only someone who has lost a loved one can truly understand, and keeping it very sudden and very short, just like that moment when you learn that you lose somebody that you care for, it allows for those who've never felt that pain before, which I hope none of you guys have to feel the pain of losing a lover or a parent or a close friend, and doing so in a way to where you have no way to where you can actually save them. It's one of the worst pains ever. It's in a moment like this where you're able to get a moment to experience the slither of the many sensations that beat down the body in the moment that occurs. The fact that Kakashi, despite everything that he was feeling in that time, still reported to the Hokage the very same night what happened to his father shows a level of strength that Kakashi has to be applauded for, because some people would have broke down and shut down altogether in that moment. He was now suddenly an orphan. His father had killed himself with no warning, didn't even say goodbye to him, and he was wrestling a whirlwind of emotions that were sweeping its way through his body simultaneously as all this was going on. Kakashi still informed those who needed to know the truth, and in the hours afterwards, Kakashi watched his people turn up to his home to confirm the truth. But as a clear first sign of what was to come for Kakashi, he noted that there was no jealousy for his father being famous. Instead, it's only subtly hinted that before the White Fang's funeral, that there was a huge indifference. Some people were sad at his death, but a lot of people chastised him and looked down upon him for saving his comrades instead of actually carrying out the mission, and they viewed him as somebody who took the selfish way out. After all, you have to remember the time period we're in. This was a man who broke one of the honored shinobi rules, that a ninja must always put the mission first. Well guys, that's gonna be it for this installment of Kakashi Retsuden. I'll be sure to be back with another installment soon. Let me know what you guys think about these memories of Kakashi. How do you guys feel that this moment was conveyed, and does this change the way you look at Kakashi's character? But so always guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day guys.